So I want to share a little bit about my why behind this research. As I'm sharing about, the findings, I think it's really important to anchor it with my passion and curiosity with this work, because I'm not studying psychedelics because they're trendy, although they are. I'm really interested in how we can best utilize them, and it's something that I have been curious about since I was in my early 20s. I, at that time, was working through a really traumatic childhood, and I didn't really feel like there were a lot of options available to me in terms of healing. And gratefully, a friend of mine gifted me psilocybin mushrooms. And that experience, that first experience I had, was life-changing. It helped me to connect with myself and with the universe around me. I felt like I was here for a reason, and that everything that had happened to me in my childhood was going to help support my path. And then I quietly continued to, on my own, just use psilocybin, and I'd go to the mountains, I'd hike in, and under a full sky of stars would have these experiences. And of course, I wasn't sharing. I didn't want anyone to really, know I was doing these illegal substances. And I also was not into parties. It was something for me that was very sacred and was very special and transformative, but in ways that I really couldn't explain or express to other people. So fast forward about a decade, and I'm really interested in community development and what we can do to alleviate suffering in our communities, locally and internationally. I was working with the refugee population, and I was coming back from the Peace Corps in Guatemala, like very interested in humanitarian work and how we can strengthen infrastructures and support people with the education and financial resources and support that they needed in order to thrive, right? And what I was noticing is that people would get stuck in these patterns because when your nervous system is dysregulated, your prefrontal cortex kind of diminishes. You're not able to think as rationally, and there's a lot of response, like defense strategies that really keep people from the success that they might feel otherwise if they didn't have these patterns. And not only that, but we're seeing this mental health crisis emerge where so many people are struggling with depression and anxiety and PTSD, and it's been debilitating for them as individuals, for their families, for our economy. And I'm like, what are we doing? This is crazy. And from my own personal experience, I'm like, why are we not talking more about psychedelic medicines when there are other cultures that have been using these substances for the purposes of transformation and healing and connection for thousands of years? Like, can we not just look at this as a possibility to address some of these looping patterns that we're seeing, and for this mental health crisis? And so over time, I had people, show up in my life that knew that I was using psychedelics, and they were interested in learning more and maybe having me hold space for them as they were in a substance. And over time, I just decided, I'm really curious about this. And so I started to get more training. I started being, really heavily curious about the research. And what I found is just where we're at now is that there isn't a lot of research on this that will allow for us to make informed decisions about policies and practices that can best serve our society. And so I got into my program, and it has been an absolute gift for me to have the space and the support to bring some more scientific rigor to the field of psychedelic medicine. And so my why is really on helping the humans. I care so deeply about our conditions and want to be part of conversations that can allow for us to, optimize our human experiences as much as possible. So I am glad you're here, and I really look forward to your comments. I look forward to having dialogues about what we can do with this information, whether it resonates with you or not. Thank you so much for being here and listening, and I look forward to connecting.